Bra! Bra jobba! Her. Ok, sakte. Welcome to another unauthorized and rum-fueled treasure hunt in the sharky waters around the Gadsby Islands with Queen Ray. Mirjam Albach of Conference Buddy and me, your host, Captain Uravia. Remember to smash that like button, friends. Okay. So, yes. So, Mirjam, maybe you can start out by telling us a little bit about Conference Buddy.
Yes, I can. So Conference Buddy is a private project of mine, which I started, I think, 2019, 2018. It's so long ago. And it's basically, it should be a place or provide a place where you can look for, a buddy to visit a conference together. So if you have
a conference buddy.
Anxious, a conference buddy. Yeah, it's in the name. It's my best naming I've done ever. And the last 1.5 years, it was pretty quiet about Conference Buddy because, there were no conferences. And now Conference Buddy 2.0 is lurking around the corner, I think.
Ooh.
I hope. Yes.
I think. Are you trying to unmute yourself again, Ola? You have to unmute yourself. I think he muted himself because Lillian is making so much sound.
I didn't. I retweeted the tweet that we're live.
Oh, okay. I see. People in the chat retweet.
Yeah. Look at this. We have people here. It's Christine Gotthard. Go there. Go to bed.
She's a friend of yours, Mirjam?
Yeah, we met, and also 2018, 2019. It's been so long.
I mean that's when we met too. That's when conferences. We were like around Europe at conferences, and I think a lot of that was like the beginning of my kind of new Twitter community friendships. I don't know, like internet friends, and during this times. I mean, it's been so much fun having these kind of internet friends to hang out with because, I mean, we're stuck at home, so you can talk to people at video instead of meeting them in person. This is kind of for people who have been watching this before. Like, we're usually live on Thursdays. We focus on Gatsby-related topics, and after speaking to Mirjam during a webinar we had on test-driven development of Gatsby serverless functions, we had an idea to, I'll mute them. Mirjam had the idea that we could do some streams around Conference Buddy. So here we are. So going forward, there's going to be 6 episodes at least. So we're doing it every week except the day before Christmas, but we're going to do the day before New Year's. And we're going to have different topics. So we'll go through kind of what Mirjam has done since kind of the last episode, her code, a little bit of code review, answering Gatsby questions or other, like discussing other things that she has, I guess that has come up since the last week. And then we'll also have some guests on to discuss different topics. So we already know that there's going to be some authentication needs. So next week, my friend Swisek will be here and we'll talk about how to choose the correct auth provider. So that's next week. But for this week, Mirjam, what have you done? I mean, it's the first episode, so you.
Oh my god! I I destroyed my ESLint config, for example. Yeah, what I've done in preparation for our streaming plans, which were pretty spontaneous, I would say. I set up a new project on GitHub with Gatsby 4, and then I wanted to set up my normal setup in a sense. So I decided to use TypeScript. I'm not the biggest fan of TypeScript because I don't like a compiler to tell me what to do, but I am working in an enterprise project, so I know how important it is as soon as you have a bit bigger app, and especially if somebody else probably works in it, which I hope can happen in the future. And then I also wanted to set up testing. And of course, if you do front-end setup, there were a lot of problems, but now I have something running.
Woo!
And I don't know if
do you want to
and
share?
I also have the first test. I can share. Yeah, I can.
Yeah. So if
Let
you
me
move us
you
off
out
your
of the
screen,
way.
then I'll share
Yes.
your screen.
Yes.
And let's have a look. There we go.
I have to apologize to our watchers because I have not figured out how to make my sidebar in Sublime a bit bigger. Sorry, but I made the files bigger at least. That's something, you know.
Yeah, we just realized that Mirjam has the hugest screen with like the biggest resolution. I think I don't know what I don't know screen sizes, but at least I know I think maybe it's my eyes getting old and gray here, and I don't know, but I got a big screen, and the first thing I did was bump up the font size on the whole screen.
Yeah. Yes,
So I don't have your resolution. Yeah, but so what were your issues with setting up fresh Gatsby, or did you have any issues setting up a fresh Gatsby install?
So the first setup was not an issue. I followed the Hello World starter I found on Gatsby, like for Gatsby 4, which was pretty easy to do. And it also did not contain a lot of plugins in the beginning. And I wanted to start really small. The bigger problem was I've found I used actually the same tutorial on the Gatsby side to set up testing like we did in our webinar. But then I also wanted to follow another tutorial to set up TypeScript, but both together did not really work. And in the end, I found, and I can add the link to our GitHub discussion board, which I also added to GitHub, that is a public, with a starter for a Gatsby with TypeScript. And yeah, it was, I tried to do a lot of work, but in the end, who finished it was my partner when he watched football somewhere in the night. And I think the biggest problem I had, honestly, in the end was realizing that for some reason, the test files have to end with TSX. So I added a TypeScript setup with all these rules. I'm honestly not sure if I really need all of these rules. I just left it. It's this kind of thing where you don't want to touch it because it's working.
Yeah, now it's working.
yeah.
And a very mature decision to ask. It's a very mature decision to ask for help. Know when to ask for help, right? And you got help. Now don't touch it.
Yeah, exactly.
It's working. Yeah.
This is a TypeScript setup, and then I also had like in the webinar in the test configs and things, and there's the loader shim somewhere in it. So and all this together then led to a working setup with working tests, which was pretty good. And other than that, the next thing I've done is I've added, maybe I can just start the app to show you.
Yeah. And also share a little bit
content.
No, but you can also share a little bit because since we did that test-driven development webinar that everybody should watch. Oh, I forgot to link that in the description. I'll add that to the description. But I am amazed. Like, this is one of the first projects I've seen where there is already a test. Like, you have already created a test for the home component. So you can share with us how you did that, because I think that's interesting I know a lot of our watchers are not that into TDD yet. You might be after 6 episodes with Mirjam. Everyone's going to be TDD.
I hope so. That would be nice. Okay, let's see. This is, the home component is basically nothing else than one headline and now also a button. And the button is not tested. I feel very bad about this. I know, right?
How
That
could
was for
you?
my CSS setup. But we can add the button maybe together. So
Yeah, let's do that.
the test button. Just the background in my testing setup, I use Jest because it's the easiest test runner to set up currently still. I'm using the testing library for React, which I'm also using at work, and I really like. I have like some different opinions about some things, but I really like that it's this user-focused kind of testing. And it also, if you're using the utilities right, you get a lot of implicit testing of semantic HTML. So for example, you can see in this test, it's like get by role heading with a specific name. And using this, I make sure, okay, this is something that an assistive technology will identify as a heading and it has an accessible name. I could also do get by text and user text, but this way I make sure it's really a semantic HTML element, which I really like.
So if somebody later comes by and like works on this component and change the heading to a div, but with a class heading, then your test will fail.
Yes, correct. And I really like that.
Yes, I do too.
Right?
Like I just have to get used to it. Like when we did the webinar, I was like, this is such a rush, such a fun way to work. But I don't want to get stuck and like, because I don't think I can't give my computer to Ola and have him set up TSX testing for me. So
yeah,
I'll have
I
to
think,
like, but I'll get there. I'm gonna get testing to be like a part of my normal flow. That would be great.
Okay, now we can just test the button and just add it, as you can see, get by role button, which is also implicitly making sure it's a button and the name is an accessible name. I save. I have to start the tests, of course. Oops, sorry. I start them in a watch mode. So every time I save something, the related tests are getting run again. And okay, normally it's pretty fast.
Yeah, but you're running into the streaming issue because streaming and running things are this. It slows down the computer. Yeah.
So, and now we have like, oh, okay, I know what the problem is, I think. That's an interesting example, probably.
Because what you're saying is you're testing to see if the button exists and is visible.
Yes. Something is going wrong. It's, of course, not like it should be.
I'll read a comment then. Hello. From George.
Good. Great comment.
This is George. He's a self-taught programmer and developer for Hear Me Aid.
Ooh.
And they just launched.
Cool.
November 22.
Yeah. That's
it's for people with hearing problems like me.
Yeah. Lillian is like, what are you talking about?
Who's working on the screen, she asks.
Yeah, it's Mirjam.
It's Mirjam. You see, she was waving at you.
Okay, and
you got it also, green.
Yes, and I added also the Just.DOM library, which is also by the same like maintainer than testing library, which enables really nice matches. So to be visible is from Just.DOM. And what you also can do for this button, I can test to be enabled.
Ooh.
It's a really, really big font right now. And what this does, it does not, I'm not sure why my watch is not working. I have to look at my script. This would fail if the button is not visible, and also fail if the button is visible but disabled. So this also ensures like implicitly a bit more testing than just testing that there is an element with test button. Yeah, I really like this. And the problem I just ran into is one thing the testing library or the DOM testing library does is it has an auto cleanup after every it in chest, which means it tears down or basically removes every component that was rendered. And I normally work without that auto cleanup, but it seems I did not set this up right in this repository. I have to do that later.
Yeah. No, but and let's have a look at what the page looks like. I saw you had that running as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's a headline and a button.
I mean, that's where we all have to start.
That's true.
That's where we all have to start.
So
I mean, I guess it depends on your personality if you enjoy this kind of setup part of creating stuff or not.
Does anybody enjoy this? Okay, I will make it bigger. Oh no, I made it smaller, I think. Okay, this is the setup. I'm not sure if you can see it through the stream, but it has some weird looking background because I've not implemented that right. But what I did implement, and please stop me if that's like not really interesting because it's too much intent.
No, go on. Go into it.
Where is it? I set up Bootstrap 5 because I'm a big Bootstrap fan, and I have a very specific setup to make use of Bootstrap, like components and classes and utility classes and everything it brings. But I don't want to draw in anything, like use the whole CSS. I want to be able to override this, or not override this, but configure it in a way that I can use it. And that, yeah, I will write it down probably and make an article about it. But what I did is I'm only importing stuff from the CSS files that I really need, like variables, functions, mixins. Here I use their own functions to set specific values to my own. Like, for example, I can show you here. I can now use classes that end with conference body pink, for example. Yeah, and this looks a bit complicated, and it is. I mean, and not everything works right now. But what that means is, in the end, of the CSS I get compiled is only it only includes the thing I need, not the whole Bootstrap CSS, and it also adds classes that I need. So instead of using, for example, color primary, I can use actually color conference body pink and stuff like this. And this is something I really like. I'm just a big Bootstrap fan.
I think with styling, there are so many ways to go, and I just really like that you were fairly quickly like, I know Bootstrap, I'm just going to use Bootstrap. I have a setup I like, and I think that is like a great way to think about it, because I mean, Gatsby, you've done a little bit of Gatsby before, but Gatsby is pretty new, and then we'll probably have to do some auth and some databases and some, I mean, there's a lot of things that will probably be new. It's really nice that you don't have to, because we started using Tailwind on the Naturmob site that we've been doing, and I'm pretty good with CSS, so I can like YOLO my own styles. But now then we're using Tailwind, it's like, oh, I just want a background color, and I'll have to go and like Google through their docs to add something, because I don't know it. Like, I'm guessing like in a couple of months, if I used it every day, it would be quick. But since you already have used Bootstrap in this way, and you already know Bootstrap, it's like you're going to be quick with that, and then you don't have to have everything. You don't have to learn everything kind of new. So I think that was a wise decision. Yeah. And the same thing with your test setup, like do it the way that you like, even though it's going to be a little bit finicky. Since I've been using Gatsby kind of a lot, I've just ended up using all of their defaults and not setting up any. I just like go with their default, because that has become my default, which makes it pretty easy. But then I haven't gotten into TypeScript yet. And I saw that John said, is it John? You have the John voice?
I once got 3/4 way changing an older project from React/Gatsby.js to TypeScript. But then I lost my mind and chickened out back to the main branch.
Chicken emoji.
I get that.
So that's why I haven't gotten to that part yet either. So, but I think that's all for the coding today. I'm really happy you got to see a test being made.
Yes.
And then next week we'll see what at the end of our kind of show, we'll figure out what will be the main task for Mirjam to do until next week. But I thought, I don't know how much screen we need, but you might want to pull up some drawings and stuff. Because I thought the next time we could talk about it's Ulla has printed them all out.
Oh wow, that's I mean, I can also show them, or
yeah, if you want
to. Because you are on this side of my desk, and I'm like,
but it works, because when you're looking at us on the other screen, it looks like you're looking at your screen on the stream, so it works. Like you're looking at so you have if you were moving the other direction, it would be really weird. Like if I had my screen over here, every time it's like, hello, and you're like looking away from that. Well, that's kind of backstage talk, I guess, but now everyone got privy to that. So that works really well, because I thought in this next section, as I said, I'm thinking these streams are going to be like, first we're going to just do the intro, and then we'll look at what Mirjam has made from the last time and do a little bit of live coding if necessary, and then we'll go in and like talk about the topic of the day. So today the topic of the day is kind of like, what do you want Conference Buddy to be? Kind of your vision for Conference Buddy, and also that will lead us into what kind of features are we, or like what kind of functionality are we thinking that you will need at this point?
Okay, that just like spew it all out, like
spew it all out. Like, what's your vision? What's your vision? It's so easy. Just like, give me the vision.
Just the vision, nothing else. Yeah, I mean, the way Conference Buddy worked in the beginning, it was it started actually just as an idea, and I did. My screen is not shared anymore, right? I can move you and look at you.
Yeah,
that's nice. Cool. Yeah. It was basically an idea I had, and then I set up a sign up for a mailing list just to see how this idea would be like received, and it was really good. And then it started actually, just people started using a hashtag on Twitter to match on conferences, which already worked. And then I set up like a hosted forum system, just because I knew if I start to build something, it will take ages. And I used something that was already done, and it had some pros and some cons. So something worked really good, but it was a lot of manual work involved, and it didn't work like perfectly, but it was okay for a beginning. And then when the pandemic hit, I was like, okay, in this time I will like just build a whole app, and did a lot of like research and product development thingies, like a product canvas and stuff like that. And then 1.5 years later, now looking at the things I like draw and scribble, it's like I cannot read my own handwriting. I'm not sure what I meant with this mock-up and stuff like this. But basically the idea is to have, so I want to build a really small MVP, like just the few things I think we really need, and not overcomplicate stuff. And that would be, a list of conferences where people can look for Conference Buddy for the specific conference. So I imagine that like I want everybody that participates to have to sign up. I don't want to have it in the open. I mean, the list of conference can be open, but I don't want anybody that is not signed up and so in some way verified. I mean, it's not real verification, but at least a bit. Only they can see, for example, if a person has posted they want to meet at a conference. I also want to enable users to kind of lurk on a conference. So if they are not sure yet, do they want to go there? Would they want a Conference Buddy? Just to lurk in a sense of get notification if somebody is like adding themselves as Conference Buddy. And that means conferences. I need a conference list, like a site for the conference where conversations can happen, and also user profiles, because I want users to like have a profile page where they can tell a bit about themselves. We had that in the forum, and I think that went pretty well. Like you could put in your social media links. That also was kind of a trust thing. So I mean, if you have a Twitter account, a GitHub account, an Instagram account, whatever, people get more the feeling, okay, this is a real person. I mean, it's not 100% sure, but it's still a bit.
And also, is there somebody that will match kind of with my style?
Yes,
or like,
exactly.
or not style, but like, is this somebody I think I would want to hang out with? I guess.
Yeah. And also, most people in the profile or in the intro post wrote something about themselves. So, for example, talk to me about this and that topic. So it's a bit, just getting to know the other person, getting a feel if you would feel comfortable meeting them at a conference. So that's it. I mean, it's already a lot. And the first idea I had was, and Benedict and I already talked about that in the preparation. My first idea was to have like a chat function, like direct messaging system, because I did not want to have like an open comment style discussion. So to make it harder or easier for people to feel comfortable in a sense of nobody is seeing where I'm going, because I think somebody could have an issue with that. But then we realized if we are implementing a direct message system, which is already like probably a lot of work, how do we make sure that the messages are appropriated? I mean, so and then we thought,
I had a little epiphany about this when I was thinking about this earlier today. I thought like one way that could be cool is that if the people who want to be conference buddy and kind of the lurkers, when there is maybe when they are over 3 or 4 people or something like over a set amount of people, there could be kind of set up maybe like a little video conference or something for them to get to know each other. Like there would be a room and that time where they could then people could of course turn off their cameras, but I think it would be easier kind of like on the behavior moderation. Like if there is 3 or 4 people meeting, it's not like you're not going to be stuck in a room with like one awful person if that like happens. So something, or like a group chat or something, like we'll meet up at a specific time and then like organize things instead of or like there's a group, something I was thinking, at least there's like over a certain amount of people, then it could open up to the discussion, so it's never like a one-on-one where somebody can because this, I mean, your idea is for people who are a little anxious of going to conferences alone, and we don't want to give them that same, or you don't want to give them that same anxiousness on the conference page where they're like, well, I don't want to say hi here because so that was, but these things we're going to talk more about, I guess, in the future, how we're going to solve this, or how you're going to solve that, and hopefully maybe do some user testing. It could be fun to do some live user testing as well and see what people come up with. So I just moved everything off screen. I was like, if somebody has any questions also for Mirjam, or ideas for the kind of website / app. I'm guessing this is going a lot more into app land. Like now I'm looking away from you. I don't know. I'm like trying to look.
I feel still looked at.
You feel still looked at. That's good. I'm guessing this. I mean, this is going a lot more into kind of web app land than it is just a website. But I think that is the cool things about frameworks like Gatsby. It's like you can start with something quite minimal that is mostly just static information, and then you can start adding on the app features as we go along. But if you want to share a screen again, you could share some of your sketches, because even though you're saying you don't understand, like I mean, you have sketches. It's already great.
I mean, I use the tool. I cleaned my screen. I also just, if you want to put that in the YouTube chat, post the link to the discussion board I opened.
Oh, we are not allowed to share links in the YouTube chat, but the link is in the description. I added it before I added it before the
Oh my God, how fast you are! Nice. How fast are you?
If I can do it from the couch on my phone, it happens.
Nice. Okay, let's see. I really hope that works in the way I hope it does, because I have created a list with links, so we can actually see that in the app I use. Let's see, the big moment.
Inside of Acceledraw?
Yeah. It's loading. It's loading. Yes. Should I make it a bit bigger?
Yes.
Okay, so
Yeah.
this is okay. Yeah, this is basically what I think the conference list should look like. So, I mean, the whole list kind of, I mean, it should have like a headline. It should have probably later, or maybe from the beginning, like a call to action to add conferences for people. Maybe that depends a bit on where I get the data from. Of course, like a good text for people to understand what is happening here, and then there's basically a list of little cards with conferences with a title, date, location. I thought about having tags, so you can also look then at tags for specific topics, for example, JavaScript conferences, Gatsby.js conferences, front end, whatever. And you would need a sort function.
So sorry, somebody's audiobook app is not working.
Oh no!
She gets very frustrated when technology doesn't work. Don't we all, though?
Don't we all? Yes.
Don't we all? Okay, so a list of conferences and then a conference page, I guess.
Yeah, conference page, and this is like a sorting function and also search and filters, which I think is important because that was one thing what the forum lacked. Yeah, that's the idea. And I'm like, I know I need like search filter and the sort by, and I have no idea how to implement that in a like good accessibility, like not accessibility, but user experience, like because I think a lot of if you have a lot of things on the side, it gets complicated. Okay, I just closed my GitHub again. I'm just going.
Yeah, that's no. But what I'm seeing, what I'm seeing, like very clearly though, is like we need. So for the conferences, we need like proper content. Like a conference would be kind of like a page or a post or something like that. And we talked a little bit before that, let's just make it as simple as possible. So we could have those as markdown files that you can source in with Gatsby. And then later when we add users, I'm guessing like we'll need a connection between users and conferences. And then when there's like discussions or whatever, we need some kind of connection there. But I think having the conferences as markdown pages is also it's like it's fairly simple. And also these are all tech conferences, so I'm guessing most of the conferences that want to submit their conference or people that would like to submit a conference could maybe then just submit that straight in your as a PR to your either to like a content repository or like directly to your like main repository.
I really like that idea.
And then you could go like more fancy and create a form that talks to Gatsby functions that posts it to your GitHub. But that is further deadline, but that gives you that option of going MVP, and then you can like make something cooler later. And then we'll have to figure out the search. I can't remember it right now, but I remember Rich, an original Natter mobber, for the people who've hung around for a while, he shared a little library that was really good for doing search on static sites like this, like because the sourcing of the markdown and then building all of the conference pages will be static, and then like user authentication and all of that will be like the dynamic part. So there was I'll have to look that up before the next one, where there was a good little free tool to do search in a static site. So that was pretty, and I think it was fuzzy too. So as a dyslexic, I really enjoy when search results do allow me to have spelling mistakes. Otherwise it is and I've learned and I've learned many years ago that is called fuzzy search, like the results are fuzzy, or it's like a fuzzy match, I guess. And I think that package also gave you fuzzy search matches. So that's pretty cool. Another option is Algolia, which is a paid service, which is like super slick. But I don't know how their payment structure is. And I don't think you're going to have I think we'll start out with that like free package because
Yes,
it's not
I
going to
think that
be
makes
crazy amounts of conferences
Yeah.
either. But yeah. So did you have any more diagrams of kind of the conference pages, like a conference page?
Yeah, I have.
Or sketch?
Let's see. This time I'm not ending my GitHub.
But now I'm also realizing why, like, since why Paul ends up drinking more than me on these other streams, because now when I'm not in charge of the screen or the coding, like I am really enjoying my beverage.
Yeah. As you can see, I tried to like draw something, and it's really hard to tell. But so this is like a single conference where we have the same information like in the card here, and then the text. And this here are little like I'm not sure, buttons or whatever. This is supposed to be a dog. I'm sure you noticed because of the ears. And this means like that there are 4 conference buddies. And I imagine it's just like a little button that you can hit, like basically like a like button, but then you have to do something. For example, you have to write a message in the comment section or whatever we want to call that, or message. So you cannot just hit and say you are a conference buddy. You have to leave some like
some
message
information
to get in touch. Then this is an I, and this is for lurking. So if you want to,
I understood
if you're
that.
interested,
I saw that was an I. I saw it was an I.
Yeah.
You could use for the actual site. You can use the 2 emoji eyes, like the looking emoji eyes.
Yeah, I thought so too. Yeah, just emojis. And
yeah,
this,
but that was for.
Sorry.
What was the eyes
Go
for?
on.
Sorry, I
Yeah,
interrupted you. What were the eyes?
For lurking. So if you want to, you're not sure if you want to go, if you really want to go and meet people, so you can lurk on this conference in a sense of you get notification if, for example, somebody new is offering or asking for conference buddies, or if there's like any kind of action on this conference, you get a notification in some kind. I'm not sure in which. So you can still like decide to chime in. So like you're like, one person offered to be a conference buddy, but I don't know them. I'm not sure. And then other people come in, have a discussion, and you get a better feeling. So just to keep you in the loop for a conference you're interested in. Because I think that was really something that was lacking in the forum, because you had to explicitly allow email notifications. So I didn't find a way in between activating them by default, which you're not allowed to do, per law. Or have it like explicitly. So some people posted conferences or also answered like in a post for a conference, and then there was not there were maybe 2 or 3 weeks no answers, because a lot of conferences are showing up the first time pretty early, and then they didn't they didn't realize that something is going on. And one thing I learned, or we learned with Conference Buddy, is that there's this planning phase where people, especially like people like me that are really anxious, as soon as they think about a conference or signed up, start to look for conference buddies. And then there's like a lot of silence in between. And then right before the conference, it gets a lot of traction again. And I want to make sure that, I mean, you see in the conference in August, you say, maybe I'm going. You add yourself as a lurker, and you get this information. Oh my God, now in March, people are signing up suddenly, or something like that. Yeah.
So now I'm also hearing reminders, notifications, emails. So that is another can of worms. If anyone has any experience with setting up kind of a notification system for their app/website/web app, join the discussions, by going to the link or in the chat, because that would be a great topic to have a guest on. And I don't have any that comes to mind right away on kind of notifications and that part, because it's more than kind of email. It's more like that kind of like you would with an app, like get a little bit of a push notification or something like that, more immediate.
Exactly.
So that could be so that would be cool. Ola has something he would like to say, actually.
So Swissek has he's doing a lot of notifications I remember he showed us that thing where they're sending out SMSs and then they're sending out emails.
Oh yeah, in
and-
his day job. Yes, in his
yeah.
day job. Yeah, but we already have him down
Interesting.
for
Yeah,
for Oz.
but
Maybe he can like
no,
come back.
No, you can just ask him when he's on, because he
Mhm.
probably knows somebody who'd be
Yeah.
great.
Yeah, that is a good idea.
So cool.
Or maybe he's going to say, yeah, I have a little secret list here of people you should not have on.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Good to
I mean, that
know.
you know, that could happen. That could happen. Okay, so
Yeah.
we have authentication. Like I'm thinking the features we're kind of looking at.
Yes.
And I'm like often I just like for my project so far, I'm like just pushing the notifications so far back on the roadmap that it's not happening.
Yeah.
So for for my side project, POW should also have notification, but there's the added issue of all the data being encrypted, so it's kind of hard to like notify people of data that I don't know. But Ola actually had like a
True.
super good solution for that, letting people just say themselves when they wanted to be notified. So like they could say, I want to be
That's nice.
notified.
Yeah.
But still just like thinking about notification, I was like, that's far down the roadmap. So I'm really excited if we get to that in this project, because
Yeah.
then we can take the learnings over to POW as well.
Nice. Let's
Yeah.
see how this all comes together.
It all
Win,
comes
win,
together.
wins all over.
Yeah. So I feel like we're like, it's the stuff that often happens with these projects. Like, so we need some kind of authentication. We need some content, the conferences. We need connections between content and people. That is basically a commenting system, but feature wise, it's a
Probably.
lot like a
Yeah.
commenting system. Just for the people that are kind of newer to product development, it often feels like your kind of feature set is very unique. But if you start like to think a little creatively, you could then find resources. Like in this case, like this is basically a commenting system. So we could maybe find resources that can help us that maybe talk about commenting systems, but we could use that knowledge in this app. I think like if you start to see these kind of similarities between applications, it's easier to use the knowledge you have, or like find the knowledge you need. So I'm like repeating myself. Authentication, we need some data stuff, we need some content, we need some notifications. And so far, I think that's what we need.
That's it. It's not much. Of course, it's much.
Not much. And then we're like,
so smart.
why isn't there just one system that does all of this for us? But that's another discussion. So Tamor says you can use Socket.io for notification chat. And that is a great input. And I also think there are systems. So Socket.io, I think it's not low level, but it's lower level. I think there also are systems on top of that will like give you a whole kind of chat comment type functionality for you. But I've looked at some of them and they are super expensive. Like this is one of those problems that seems easy to do yourself, and then you find all of what like we talked about, like what if somebody sends inappropriate stuff? What if and then you realize that, oh, this is a more complex system anyway. And that's also true, John is saying you could set it up with Google API. John voice.
One can set all this up with Google APIs. Firebase, Firestore, storage, messaging, auth, signing up, etc. All can be integrated into a Gatsby project. This is one possibility though. And I think I asked him if he was using Gatsby functions.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you could set this up like that we could set we can pipe anything through a Gatsby function if we need to. But I know that with the whole Firebase, I guess, suite from Google, you can do a lot of the things directly from your browser, because since you're doing authentication through them, they already know who the person is and authentication, and you can then save stuff on their behalf without having to send it through through your own
Yeah.
serverless function. So that is a possibility. I've been looking a little bit at Supabase lately, which are kind of
Super. You mean super
That's
base?
new, right? Yeah.
Yeah, Supabase.
Super.
Supabase. Isn't there a song Supabase by? Oh, there is some pop star. I'm gonna make us big
Really?
Yeah.
again. Now that we need to sing, isn't there like
No.
Supabase?
Nobody
No,
wants that.
you don't know? Oh, Mirjam, you don't know. I've become like the tech singer, which is so funny
Oh
because
my
I can't
God,
sing.
really?
Yeah, I've sung the Mambo
Ah.
Number 5 Jamstack song. We're not gonna do it now, but you can go back in time and you can
And watch it?
and you can watch it.
I mean, remember
no,
we did a TikTok once. I
yeah,
mean, we did not sing, but yeah,
no,
we had
did not
hours of
sing.
TikTok recording.
Oh yeah, we did that. Oh my God, where is that
This is
TikTok?
so long. It was over an hour, right? And it was during the dinner where other
Yeah.
people were eating.
It's so for for context, I have only done one TikTok in my life, and that was at Ruhr.js because of a very young conference, a speaker wanted to do a TikTok with us, and we were like old people, and we were like, "Yeah, we'll do a TikTok." And then 4 hours later, we were still making this TikTok. We thought it was like a 30-second thing, but it's not.
Yeah.
Yes,
It-
Nicki
A
Minaj.
lot of dedication.
Nicki
Ah,
Minaj.
nice.
Oh, how does it go though? Oh, everyone should be happy. I don't know, remember how it goes, but next week we'll sing the Supabase song. But anyway, so yeah, Supabase is they call themselves an open source alternative to Firebase, and I am always a little wary when people say it's open source because it's like, well, does that mean I can host it myself, or are they just open sourcing parts of it? But it seems like just this week, Supabase has also open sourced their dashboard. So they're like, they are using open source technologies, and they're also open sourcing like most of their stuff. So that is an interesting contender. And then there's
Yeah,
always
true.
Auth0 for authentication, but they don't have any data stuff. And what more do we have? We used to use something called Parse back in the day, and then they were bought by Facebook, and then nothing more happened, and then it became open source. I think it still exists, but you have to host it yourself. Parse.com.
No
Yeah.
self-hosting, please.
No,
I fell out
exactly.
there.
But yeah,
I fell out.
No,
What were you
you
talking
fell-
about? I was listening to Nicki Minaj.
Nice.
Nice. We were talking about Parse that we were using for Lily, our Lily suite of apps, Lilygram and Lily Sleep and Lily Maps. Yeah. But so
Anyway,
that
there's
is something we're probably gonna discuss a lot on this show. It's like when you are doing these side projects and like indie hacking, you want to use services that make it easier for you. But then what happens if they go bust, or Google just changes the prices on you, or the whatever. And I think that's going to be in our discussion with Swisek next week. I know he has some opinions.
Nice.
He has opinions.
Opinions are always good.
It's always good. We don't have to we don't have to listen to him, but opinions are always good.
That's true.
So,
yes.
do you feel like there's something we haven't talked about that you would like from the app that would be like in this like getting started phase?
No, I think for the beginning, that's maybe a bit as a background, because we discussed this before. Is so we talked about what we use as authentication. So because I didn't want to have only one provider. So for example, you can only use GitHub to sign in, or only use Twitter to sign in, because I wanted to, not to lock you in somewhere, or to exclude people that, for example, are not using GitHub but GitLab, or are not on Twitter and stuff like that. So that is also something we already talked about before. We have to take into consideration. The forum actually did only use GitHub and Twitter because that was what I could do, and I thought that's probably already covering a lot, and there were also no complaints. But still, I think it's a good idea to. I mean, I want this to be. I mean, it's a product to trying to say, or not a product, but a project to trying to make things a bit more inclusive and a bit more accessible for people. So I also want, of course, like the app to be inclusive and accessible, because otherwise it's a bit like
Yeah.
contradiction,
It's like,
right?
oh, you already have to be on GitHub, which is not available in all countries to enjoy
Yeah,
this
true.
product to
Yeah.
welcome new people into tech. So yeah, I totally get that. And I think
Yeah,
like what
yeah.
I've seen so far, like both Auth0 and I think Firebase authentication, last time I used it, and also Supabase, like all of those, they have like you can enable different providers.
Yes.
And usually it costs more money the more providers you enable, at least for some. It depends on their billing model.
So should we start with a donation plugin?
Yeah, should we start with that?
I put a donation plugin on my app. I'm making a shadow app along with the show, so I'm making my own app, and I tested the plugin. I tested the donation plugin. Yeah.
Yeah,
Queen
I heard
Ray's donation plugin.
Yeah, I heard there's some plugin for Stripe.
So donation plugin is going into version 1 early next week. So if you want to do that also as homework for next week, then you can source
Homework?
markdown or homework. I call it like
it's good to
homework.
have. I need homework. I need accountability. Otherwise, it will just be like the last 1.5 years. Not doing anything.
Yes, because we already decided, or like I already decided, I guess, for your homework. Say I am the queen.
Yeah, that's good.
We decided that you were gonna source conferences as markdown files into Gatsby and create an archive page and a single conference page. But they don't have to be complete. Like you don't need everything, but just the content pieces, and then styling, just whatever. And then you can also add the donation plugin.
Okay. Do you know how that feels? It's like a combination of like an interview, like a tech interview task. You get like a take a home task for a tech interview. And back when I was in school, we had this little kind of books where we had to write down everything we need to do until the next section.
I mean,
so
if you want, I can get some star stickers out, so you can get like a star sticker when you have completed the tasks.
I mean, that's positive reinforcement. That works.
Yes.
Ask the former dog trainer. It really works. It works really well on me too.
I mean, I have a friend where we actually had an idea for that as an app, like, and we wanted to make it encrypted because we didn't want to. Anyway, where the only thing we can do is like give each other stars. So when she has completed her exercise, she can tell me. I'll have to trust her though, but like she'd be like, "Oh, I've completed my exercise for today," and then I like give her a star back. You're like, that is the idea. Like the app doesn't have to do anymore. But yeah. No, so those would be the two, like, if you want to do the donations, because you already have a Stripe account, right?
Yes.
Yeah. But at least the markdown part, and then I'll research the search option for static markdowns, and then we'll talk about authentication and user profiles next week. And then I guess. With this show, we just have to settle on something, and then you implement that for the next week, so we could get some fast decisions. Right?
Yeah. That's good.
I think Ola already has something for you.
Lilian has made. It's 3 hearts. Ikke sant?
That's so cute.
3 hjerter.
For us, right? It's for us. It's for us.
I mean, we could outsource that part to Lily, and she's in. Like, look at that. You can get a little gold heart from me if you want
to.
Yeah,
not bad.
Yeah, it's her thing these days. Yeah, but I guess that's it, Ola.
Yeah, okay, Lilian, du må komme.
Right?
Yeah.
And it's just on the hour, which is exactly what we want.
So good in time, yeah. It was exciting. And it was not like I was really nervous, but it was really nice.
You did a great job. You are perfect.
You did a great job. You are the perfect host. I just had to follow you.
Ser vi deg? Nei, vent.
Oh my God, I cannot even draw hard, I think.
Maybe Benedicte, you can make us big again. That was very good.
Okay, I can do that. Oh, Lillian said yes, a heart. Oh, that was the wrong one. Sorry. There we go.
Nei, vent. Vi tar den først. Okay. This has been another unauthorized and rum-fueled treasure hunt in the sharky waters around the Gatsby Islands with Queen Roy. Mirjam Albach of Conference Buddy and me. You're
Happy birthday to
Why not?
you. Happy birthday to you.
Are we now ready?
Am I going to click the button?
yes. Next
Yes.
I
time
just wave
is
until
mistake
somebody.
also.
Did you click the button?